up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. I'm at the Alfa Romeo Maserati of St. Petersburg dealership, and boy, am I excited to be here because we're gonna bring some Italian flair, some Italian flavor. What we have is this 2019 Alfa Romeo Giulia TI with the Q2 package. So let's talk a little bit about Alfa Romeo. If you have never heard of them, a lot of people think that since they have made a return to the United States, that was actually the first time that Alfas have been sold in the United States. It isn't. This is such an iconic brand that goes all the way back to 1910. 1910 was the year that Alfa Romeo was created in Milan, Italy. Their first car, the 24 HP, had a 4-liter engine, and I hope you're sitting down for this one, it had a top speed of 62 miles an hour. But by today's standards, that's not that big of a deal. Most people driving on the highway are doing well over 60 miles an hour. But back then, 1910, to have a car have that kind of speed, that was something that was going to change the auto industry for such a long time. So Alfa Romeo made some amazing cars. What they're even more known for are their race cars, and specifically in Formula One, like the Targa Florio races and whatnot. They've won so many different championships, so many great drivers, and just such an iconic brand. So let's go ahead and dive into this 2019 Alfa Romeo Giulia. Right off the bat, you could see it's got Italian flavor to it, Italian style. I love the very sleek LED headlights, and I think one of my favorite parts of this car are the grille sections. You have two large grille areas here that are fully functional and have a very nice design to it, but as we work our way across, the most iconic grille that you're gonna find on some cars today is the Alfa Romeo grille. This tells you right away that this is an Alfa Romeo product. All three grilles are fully functional. Behind there is the intercooler for the engine that's underneath the hood. That's a 2-liter inline-4 turbocharged engine. Let's talk about badges for a second. I think the Alfa Romeo badge is one of the most artistic badges in all of the auto industry. Let me explain what you're looking at here. So we have the Alfa Romeo name across the top. That makes sense. Now, if you've ever wondered, well, what's up with that red cross? That actually is a sign that goes with Milan, Italy, that red cross color. And then if you notice on the right-hand side is a serpent. And if you look very, very closely, there's a crown, and then there is a man that is sticking out of the mouth of that serpent. Let's talk a little history. So during the Middle Ages, there was the Crusades, those holy wars. There was a man, family man with the name Visconti. Knight Visconti went across this desert to go defeat this other knight. And in return, he brought back that other knight's symbol, which was the serpent. Now, a lot of people think that the man is being eaten by the serpent. It's actually a sign for renew, refresh. He's actually coming out of the mouth of the serpent. So it's just stuff like that. You would walk past this car and be like, wow, that's pretty, and maybe not even know anything about that. So just cool how they have so much tradition and so much flavor, not only added to the style of the car, but even as something as so simple as the name badge. Let's get back to the car. Sparkling, I love this color on here. Such a beautiful color in the Florida sun. You can see the body lines as they come up from each corner, very aggressive. And for a sedan, this thing, I'm telling you, looks like no other. You're not gonna confuse this with a BMW. You're not gonna confuse this with a Mercedes. As we wrap around, check out those wheels. 19-inch, I love, love, love the design of them. It's like a gunmetal gray, just a tad darker than the paint of the car, that Stromboli color. And then you have the massive 4-piston caliper with that classic Alfa Romeo script. The red caliper with the wheel, with the paint, perfect. You can see how on each wheel you have that Alfa Romeo badge again, and you can see how it's just a silver and black, which kind of gives it a nice 21st century flavor to it. As we go down the side, really nice body lines, how they put that into the fender and run it into the door. Now with the Q2 package, you're going to get some extra stuff. One of those things is going to be the beautiful mirrors here. I really love the turn signals that are built in, and you're going to get a nice style with the blacked out roof you have two separate sunroofs. You have one front, one in the back. Very nice touch. As we go down the side, I think it was smart to have the body colored door handles, and then I really like this lower sill area because if you notice, it comes out, it flares out just enough to really give it some personality. Keep working our way down. Here's probably one of my favorite parts of the car is the tail. So nice slim trim, and you can even see that we're not just talking about a flat fender here. It's got a little bit of a flare out point to it, and then as you wrap around, really love the overall style and look of the tail of this car. Now with the Q2 package, you got the blacked out badges, the Giulia, there's our Alfa Romeo badge, and then the lower section is spot on with the dual exhaust. I love the blacked out tips, I love the color of the diffuser, and even this faux grille, even though it's faux, I'm not gonna zonk it because it just looks so good. The back of this car, the only thing that I would like to see is a nice kick-up trunk lid spoiler. I think that would tie it in perfectly. And I think at the front of the car, we really need to see a lower lip spoiler just to give it a little bit more of aggressive flair because this is the TI with the Sport package and also the Q2 package on top of it. But why don't we go ahead and pop the hood and see what type of Italian pasta we're working with. All right guys, underneath the hood, there's our pasta bowl that we're working with. It's not a large pasta bowl, it's a 2-liter inline-4 turbocharged engine. Now what's great about this engine is not only does it put out 280 horsepower, but it does have 306 foot-pounds of torque to it. That is a hefty number for such a small displacement engine. It's mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission. This car weighs about 3,300 pounds. Now if you notice on the fenders, you see these wires here? This does have that adaptive suspension. Because of the TI Sport package, it has the adaptive suspension. If you're wondering, well, what's performance on this, Joe? 0 to 60 in about 5.6 seconds, quarter mile in about 14 flat, and a top speed of around 150 miles an hour. In the end, with the smaller displacement engine, you're gonna get 23 in the city and 31 on the highway. Now, another wonderful thing about this engine compartment, I do like the way they have hood struts. That's always a nice plus. I do like the style of the engine cover, and I think one thing I want Tom to come in and swing around on my side is they have the turbocharger loud and proud right up top. You can see the turbo right there and all the heat shielding that goes with it. It's just neat to have an engine when you pop the hood and you could actually see some of the things rather than it just be a sea of plastic covers all over the place. Now, not only do you get the adaptive suspension, you also get some LSD. No, you're not going to be doing any kind of 1960s tripping. Limited slip differential. This particular one is rear wheel drive. So this is going to be lined up perfectly for that BMW 3 Series, the Mercedes-Benz midsize and all that. So lots of performance in a smaller package. Why don't we go ahead and fire it up? All right guys, we're inside the 2019 Alfa Romeo Giulia. I tell you, as soon as you slip into this car, you feel that definitely you're in something Italian. Does not feel like any other car that I have slipped my Italian rear end into. Because remember, my parents are from Italy. My father specifically is from Sicily. So I could speak about the Italianness of this car since I am Italian. But anyways, if you're wondering, before we go any further, how much does Italian cost? MSRP is going to probably surprise you. You're looking at around $49,000 and some change based off of how this one is optioned. Let's go to the door panels. I purposely picked this one because I love the Stromboli gray color and I also like the red interior. At the top of the door panel, you have very soft material. I like the silver trim, and I really like even on the door handle to open up the door, it's very slim on the actual handle part. Makes it look very exquisite. Love the red, and I really think it was smart to do the red contrast stitching on the armrest. Now the armrest is quite small, and I think that's what you're gonna find. It's sort of like when you buy an Italian-made shirt. You might normally be a large, but you may want to get an extra large if you're living here in the United States, just because of sizing and whatnot. Dash, soft material. I'm a little hung up on whether I should issue a zonk. This texture I don't know. I think it's a little aggressive for the style of this car. It's like an orange peel that's gone crazy. So I'm gonna do a half zonk. So half zonk on the dash, but I love the soft material. I really like the infotainment. Now I wish the screen was larger. It's really great how you could use the rotary dial to get into all the different functions of the car. There's your navigation, but you can see how, look at all this excess space. Like, they could have somehow designed it a little differently to add some color. Now, one thing I'm gonna do is I wanna show you how this car has what's called DNA. That's the different sport modes. So when you go through, and I'll show you the knob in a second, you have 3 modes. Obviously sport, that's gonna be red, that dynamic. You got the N, which is gonna be your comfort. And then when you're feeling kind of eco-friendly, you could put it into that mode as well. This also has the adaptive suspension, which also comes fully workable once you're in that sport mode. I love this. This comes with the Q2 trim package. I love that it's like a metal finish to it. I'm glad they didn't go with some type of carbon fiber. Even the handle for the glove box, really, really nice the way that they put some design and creativity into it. Silver around the AC vents. You have a very easy to use, easy to understand dual climate control. It's got the graphics right up here, which is really nice. Here's where I start to get a little confused. One USB port right here, and it's kind of just like sticking out in no man's land, but you have this really nice cover here. I'm gonna push it back, and then you have 2 cup holders. So I guess the choice is you could have a drink or you could have your phone up here, because there's nowhere else to put your phone where that one USB is residing. So that's a little weird. This section here, I wish they would have not have gone so much with the black plastic. You have this beautiful finish here. Bring that in closer. Wrap this sucker in this beautiful trim because it just looks so good. This is what's going to be controlling that 8-speed automatic transmission. You could allow it to do its job by itself, or wait until you see the business side. These paddles are unbelievable. Here's that knob I was showing you earlier through the infotainment system, where you could go through the different drive modes. Obviously that's going to adjust throttle sensitivity, steering sensitivity, and you can see the suspension, how you could adjust that as well. There's our main rotary knob. You got volume knob and whatnot, electric e-brake, and then really nice soft leather on the armrest. You open it up, you have a couple USBs in here, and you also have a 12-volt and wireless cell phone charging. So that's really, really nice. And then these seats, these, I'm telling you, Italian approved, Italian tested. They're firm, but so supportive. They feel so comfortable. Like when you first get in, you're probably gonna be like, man, am I gonna be able to drive around in these things? But I love the style of them. I love the bolstering. Really hugs you nicely, but not too tight. So don't worry about that. You're not gonna be squeezed to death. Look at the headrest. This is what I'm talking about. Look at that beautiful Alfa Romeo logo there on the red leather. Very nicely done, nice touches. Now a zonk, I'm gonna have to do it. You knew I'm gonna go there. This mirror. Frameless mirrors, get rid of these things. It's not 2005 anymore. We got newer technology. I like the gloss black for the sunroof. And speaking of the sunroof, you wanna open up the shade? There we go. It's a nice dual plane sunroof for you and the passengers in the back. Really allows the light to come in. Speaking of coming in, come into the business end, because I'm telling you, what I'm looking at, you're gonna wanna see. Come on over. All right guys, here we are, business end, behind the wheel of this Alfa Romeo Giulia. Let's start down here. Here's those nice fine Italian touches. I love the silver aluminum. I love the pedals. Great dead pedal. The size of this dead pedal is like the size of a freaking shoebox that my shoes came in. Love the brake pedal and the gas, all finished in nice aluminum. Seats, of course you're gonna get full 8-way power adjustable seats. You can see 6 feet tall, plenty of headroom. These things are comfortable. They're gonna need to pull me out of this car here because I'm not getting out. That's how much I love these seats. Another thing I'm really digging is the wheel. Now the only zonk on the wheel is I just wish it was a little thicker up on this top portion, but I love the material, and overall I love the design and fit of it. There's that monochromatic Alfa Romeo badge. Here's where you start the engine. You don't do it over here. It's just like a freaking Formula 1 car. Start, stop. I just wish the button was like red. Red means race. Let's fire this up and get going. Look at these. Tom, can you even get these in the camera? Look at the size of these aluminum paddles. Now they're column mounted, which means that when you turn the steering wheel, the paddles do not move, but look how large they are, my God. And no matter where your hands are on the steering wheel, you're gonna definitely make contact. If you can't make contact with this paddle, you might not have any fingers. That's the problem. Dash, just so gorgeous. I love the analog tachometer, analog speedometer, that digital display in the center where you could use the thumb drive to scroll through different options and functions of it. Really easy to see, easy to read. I like the silver trim, and I just like overall the dash, how flat it is. It's so easy to see out over the hood, and just a car that you can drive every day, have people in the back, but boy, when it's time to turn up the wick, you could turn it up. Let's go ahead and see where those people are gonna be sitting as you go down that curvy road. All right, guys, backseat time of the Alfa Romeo Giulia. I'll be honest, it was a little tough getting in. I'm 6 feet tall. Where the seat is positioned, where I left it, it was a tight fit to kind of squeeze into. But once you're in, it's actually very comfortable, except for me. My head is very close, as you can see, to the headliner, because we do have that dual plane sunroof there. The seats, though, very comfortable. Love the design. It's a sea of red leather in here, which is really wonderful. And then the part that I just despise is where they don't wrap the seat in full leather, especially using this black. It just, I don't know, it's not jiving for me, and I wish they would just wrap it in this fine leather. Dual AC vents back here, which is nice, but only one USB. So I hope you're a good thumb wrestler, because whoever's sitting back here with you, you're gonna have to thumb wrestle for that USB if your phone or whatever is gonna die. Overall though, like I said, you know, it's doable. I could go for a longer drive. Would I want to? Probably not. Let's go to the armrest. Nice soft armrest, 2 cup holders, which is great. You can put that back up, very nice. Here's one thing I just want to show before we go to the trunk. Tom, show them the cup holder in the door. That must be for like an espresso or something, because it's a very, very small cup holder there. So if you're probably having an espresso, you're going to be perfect. Any kind of American-sized drink, I don't know if it's going to work. So that's another zonk for me, is because I know you're going to have passengers back here, especially kids. Where are they going to put their drinks? Do you want them to really hold it in between their leg? No, I wouldn't. Let's go to the trunk and see probably where we're going to be putting the drinks. All right, guys, time to check out what could we put in the trunk of the Giulia. Nice, quickly raising trunk. I mean, that was pretty fast. I guess that must be an Italian thing to have 0 to 60 on the trunk release in less than 1 second. But you can see how those seats are going to be able to do the 60-40 split. Pretty good amount of room. Is it a ton compared to some of the competitors? I'm going to say no on that. I would like to see just a little bit more width right about here, because when you're getting those wider things in and out, it's going to probably be a little bit of a hassle. But overall, very, very clean on the tail. So I guess I would sacrifice some of that style for size of the trunk. But let's go ahead, and if you're ready, let's wrap this one up. All right, guys, we left Alfa Romeo Maserati of St. Petersburg. We're in the 2019 Giulia, that TI Sport with the Q2 package. Right away, this car just feels different. It feels different from a BMW, Mercedes, or Audi. It has such a connected feel to it, and I like that big time. I mean, it's a really nice feeling. The dash is so pleasant to look at. Steering wheel, even though it could be a little thicker, I do like the shape of it, and I like the grips at the 10 and 2 position. Very, very nice to hold on to. This infotainment screen, they needed to do something a little bit different, because you can see all the dead space. It looks good when there's nothing there, but with the map and everything there, I don't know, it just looks a little smallish. Overall though, I love the visibility in this thing, and if you're ready, I'm ready to roll this thing out. So here we go. 8-speed auto, on throttle. Now I do have it in sport mode. 0 to 60, like I said, is around 5.7 seconds or so. The engine seems to not rev very freely. I was surprised by that, especially when we did the sound test. Now, the gearbox really holds
each gear very nicely. If you notice, when I got out of throttle, it really held on to it in that sport mode, which, you know, definitely keeps it in the power band for you to get back on throttle and be able to accelerate at a quicker pace. Seats are my favorite part. Besides the steering wheel, the seats are my favorite part of this car when driving around, because it's just so comfortable but yet so supportive. I wish there was more sound. Being in sport mode, I need some type of adaptive exhaust to let that engine sing, because even though it's the 4-cylinder turbo, you still can get a great sound out of it. If you had the means, you could go all the way and get the Quadrifoglio, which is going to get you a lot more power, totally different setup. That one is a real rocket. Brakes feel really great in this car. As soon as I touch the pedal, you could really feel those 4-piston calipers clamping down on those rotors. U-turn feels good on the throttle. So are you going to win any drag races? No, but this definitely has a very sporty feel to it and a very connected feel. And I'm telling you, the steering wheel in the sport mode has a nice weight to it, and it's very, very, very direct. I'm going to go ahead and put it over into manual mode and shift with these massive paddles and see how that goes. But right now I'm in 5th. Roll on the throttle. You can hear a little swoosh from the turbo. But overall, the car feels really, really, really good. Let me go ahead and we're going to go find some twisty section of road here to see how it handles. I like the downshifts. Very, very nice how it blips the throttle. The sound is much better in manual mode. On throttle, very quick shifts. I mean, you hit that paddle and it's going. So turning is nice. There's a nice feeling from the front end. Especially, I like the way I'm able to really gauge what the rear of the car is doing, which is nice in that bend there. But these paddles are just, they're aluminum and they are super large. And it's kind of cool to have them mounted to the column, because you're always going to make contact with it no matter what, which is really, really nice. Obviously, we're in first. Car has a really nice flow to it as we go down this twisty road here. And remember, this isn't the full-out Quadrifoglio, but I'm still getting great feedback. The ride has a nice feel to it. It's not bouncy. It's not like a pogo stick. Has a really good balance to the car, and that's definitely something that you're going to get from this car, is a really, really good balance to the chassis, and I really like that. All right, guys, I'm in first gear. Gonna roll on the throttle second. I really love the feel when you hit that shifter. I love the feel of the sensation when it actually shifts. We have some vultures doing their thing. That was interesting. Always, never a dull moment on Rady's rides. It's almost like Animal Kingdom sometimes. It's really, really fascinating. But definitely this animal, fun car to drive, just wish it had the more power. If they had a Quadrifoglio on the lot, I would have been all over that like spaghetti sauce on a meatball. I would have been all over it. Shifts are great. One of my, so far, if you're asking me what are my favorite parts about the interior of this car, the seats and the way that the car shifts with these paddles. Really nice. And look, see, I'm able to have my hand here, wheel is turned, on throttle. Really nice, very smooth, cabin is quiet. And just once you turn up the wick, it gets very exhilarating, and I do like that even from the smaller displacement engine. Over 300 foot-pounds of torque. You know, that's definitely going to help move you for sure. But I really just like it the way it flips the throttle when you downshift. And another thing I also like when looking at the dash, I love the font of the speedometer. It looks almost like you're playing some type of Gran Turismo game. That's how the fonts are on that digital speedo in the center. No heads-up display, and like I said, my biggest zonk is going to be the infotainment screen. The size, the graphics on it are a little dated, and this black around the shifter. Other than that, you know, MSRP $49,000. I think that it is an interesting choice to look at when looking either at the German brands or something like a Cadillac or whatnot. It's just nice to have some options, and you definitely get it with this Alfa Romeo Giulia. But we're going to go ahead and get back to Alfa Romeo Maserati of St. Petersburg, and we're going to wrap this one up, so I'll see you in a split second.
All right, guys, been a wonderful day here at Alfa Romeo Maserati of St. Petersburg. Definitely got to give a huge thank you to Tom and everybody else here at the dealership for allowing us access to these Italian gems. If these are the types of cars you like to see on Rady's Rides, leave a comment in the comment section. If you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile coming back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you. Thank you for being part of the Rady's Rides family. Check out all my different forms of social media. You know what they're called. It's all Rady's Rides original content all the time. If you're looking to get yourself some merch, click the link in the description. Takes you right to Spreadshirt. And then, of course, we got to give it up to Big Guns McGee, Tom Moschner, working out, getting to his powerlifting competition this weekend. So definitely want to wish him luck. Also check out his Instagram page at Mosh Photos. See what the heck he's taking pictures of, because sometimes I look and I'm just like, wow, Tom has a very large heart to match his very large arms. But anyway, thank you for your hard work, Tom. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.